The traditional website is not just what you guys see every day. Sometimes they want you guys to have, like, sometimes some websites are just like portfolio website, landing pages and stuff like that. Sometimes somebody's hiring you to just come in and just revamp what their website looks like. Just come in and just make some changes. Maybe colors here, keep it to be minimalistic. There can be different scenarios where you might be hired to come into design. And times, trust me, even in companies where they'll tell you, want you to research, when you get to the job, you see that mostly what you're doing is just the design part. Companies, most of the research that companies do is they look at their competitors, they try to copy exactly what those guys are doing that is working well, and they try to just put it to the design. That's mostly what people do. One of the things I want to say is I want you guys to start learning the habit of surrounding yourself with design. That's one of the best things. I think one of the best ways to get yourself in a mindset of being a designer. And I'll go in here and I want to show you guys my own library, my own personal library, the way my system is set up. Everything I have around me is design related in some sense. But these days I'm having documentations because, again, trying to be an entrepreneur can be a little bit of. But if you see the things I have here is either UI design, videos, or something, because this is basically what I live and what I breathe. This is what feeds me. This is what feeds the family. And it's always something exciting out there. I'll send you guys a comprehensive list of YouTube channels to follow and of Instagram people to follow as well. Instagram pages to follow. These are designers. Surround yourself with designs. These things inspire you to just find new ways to just build something exciting. Now, the reason why I downloaded this was because on Pay for Me, we have like something called the virtual card. And I was thinking, what are the new ways I can actually redesign this particular one feature? And I'm looking at this and I kind of like it. That's why I downloaded this. But this is even just in my recent downloads. If I go back into spaces like my pictures, these are images that I've had on my system since 2020. Like even my old system that the motherboard burnt, I extracted the hard drive, I copied all my images out of it, and I brought it to the system. Surround yourself. Everything design. Design doesn't mean just UI. Sometimes looking at things from old can just inspire you. This is a gift. And this reminds me of old cartoons from back in the day. And I just like seeing things like this personally. And again, my own interests go beyond just UI design. I have interest in things 3D. I have interest in creating animations, working in cartoon, working in gaming. Because personally, just things that interest me. All things design pretty much just interest me, generally. But surround yourself with design. Any design you see anywhere, take a screenshot, save it. Or tap on it, right click, and save that design. These are designs that I've been collecting for years and years and years. These are designs. And again, at some point, there will be some tools that will also show you guys to show you how to extract images from specific websites that you might not be able, that you might not be able to right click and download images from those websites. I'll show you some of those things, but the habit is try to cultivate the habit of surrounding yourself with designs that inspire you in one way or the other. Sometimes about the use of color. Looking at this, one of the reasons why I like this was because I was trying to understand how to work in dark mode. How come my colors pop in dark mode? I've seen apps do it, but not every app does that very well. And then I realized using very sharp colors is a very good way to do that. Using very clear, bright ones will stand out more on black. There's something we call contrast ratios, which you guys will learn next weekend, next Sunday. That will be colors. Somebody will teach you first about colors initially, and I'll teach you a little bit more about what some of these things mean. But we will actually be doing the things, not just talking about them. Surround yourself with things that inspire you in one way or the other. I was looking at this as well. This was Apple's first logo. Why this logo? You understand? Why was this a thing? And this kind of worked for them. Just looking at things that pretty much could inspire you in one way or the other is also just a great way to like do things. Sometimes I store things like this because I want to try to see if I can sketch it myself. It's just my own personal preference. I am just very curious by nature. I like to find ways to sketch new things and just have fun, with design in one way or the other. Also, there are designs in here that could inspire you. Trust me, as a designer, you will not just sit down and just start designing pages. You are required to go out of your way to search for apps, websites, and look at things that can actually inspire you to make something that's clean and that your employer and your users will also like to use and see. You understand? All right. Awesome. I would say I'll hand over to Victoria now. Over to you, Victoria. Let's stop sharing.
All right, thanks, Timmy. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to today's class. Welcome. My name is Victoria. I am Timmy's assistant. I'll be helping with one or two here, and I'll be taking the class today. Before we dive in fully, how are we feeling today? Is everybody great? Everybody's fine. Today, we're diving into one of the most important tools in UI UX design, Figma. This is our first practical class. Get your Figma ready. If you don't have a Figma account yet, please head to figma.com to create a new account. Get your laptop ready and charged because we're going to be not designing, but we're going to be getting familiar with Figma. Most people say that Adobe XD and Canva and Sketch, because those are all. I heard someone ask what other design tools we have. Those are others that Timmy didn't really mention. He mentioned Adobe XD. Most people say Canva are their tools for design, but it's just not Figma, honestly. Figma is the holy grail of all design tools. And here we are pro Figma. We're not anti the others, but we just really love Figma here. If you haven't used Figma before, don't worry. By the end of the session, you'll be able to navigate Figma like a pro. Okay, maybe not like a pro, but close. But by the end of the course, you'll be very, very familiar with Figma. What is Figma? Figma is an online design tool created to bring your designs to life. And guys, here you don't have to worry every 2 seconds about saving your work. I'm trying to give you guys just the perks of using Figma before we dive in. Everything is stored on the cloud. Even if you're without connection for 3 hours and you work, best believe that when you're connected to the internet, everything that you've worked on would still be saved and you'd see it. Yeah, which is a really, really great thing about Figma. And another awesome thing that I really like about Figma is the ability to collaborate with others in real time. Imagine you're designing with a team or just friends or anyone, and you guys can all view the same file, edit the same file, comment, and just work together. I think that's just super fun, guys. I'm sure my fellow designers here understand that feeling because it's a really great feeling. Yeah, let's get into Figma. This space is called, I call it the Figma dashboard, really. I don't know if other people have different names for it, but that's what I call it. And we're going to just go right in on your Figma screen. Just click on new design file. Mine's still coming up. Sorry, guys, give me a second. Okay, if we're all in, this is the page that you should be on. Think of this as like a digital sketchbook for all of your amazing designs. This is where everything is going to be coming to life. This is the most important space on Figma. We're going to get familiar with this space. We have the toolbar, layers panel, properties panel, and the Canva. On your right hand, the right side of the screen is where you have your layers panel, and you can add as many pages as you want. You can also go ahead to personalize this page wherever I work my workspace. You double click and just change the name. You can add as many pages and name it whatever you want, depending on what project you're working on. It's mostly important for easy reference. Say you work for maybe several companies and you just want everything to be organized. You could just like name it based on what you want it to be. Maybe MTN, page two, we can call it MCN. I don't work for MTN, guys, but okay. We can call page three, say grow. And yeah, now the thing with this space and the middle part is called your Canva. Your canvas, I'm sure everyone knows that. The thing with the layers panel and the properties panel is that it only comes to life when you've interacted with your toolbar. And your toolbar is the lower section here on your screen, on the bottom of your screen. Yeah, let's dissect the toolbar. one after the other, guys. Please let me know if you're lost or if you have any questions. Just unmute your mic and let me know. Okay, here we have the move tool. Okay, and the move tool basically allows you select reposition objects on your canvas. If I had a rectangle, for example, which we're going to get to shapes, the move tool basically just does this, moves it around. I call it the hands of Figma because these are your hands. It helps you move around Figma, it helps you navigate through Figma. You can select multiple frames, multiple images, just anything with your move tool. Yeah. We have the next tool here is the hand tool. The hand tool doesn't edit your designs, but it just helps you kind of like pan around your canvas if zoomed in, just doesn't edit anything. I do not really use this tool, but I mean, it's still a very important tool as well. Then you have your scale tool. Now, the purpose of the scale tool is to resize objects. If you have, for example, a rectangle here, again, and you have your scale tool active, you just zoom it out this way. Basically, it helps to help maintain proportionality. If you're using a shape and you need to resize, it just helps, it keeps it intact, basically. If it's a man, the head is not bigger than the body and the body is not bigger than other parts. It just helps keep everything in its original form. That's the purpose of the scale tool. Moving on, we have the region tools. Now here we have the frame, we have section, and we have slice. Frame is probably the most important thing here because as a designer, you need to design in a frame. And the good thing about Figma is that it has preset sizes like iPhones, iPhone 16, Android, just different presets of frames that you should be designing in. My favorite to use here is the iPhone 13. And there are different reasons why designers choose specific frames to design. It could provide consistency and accuracy throughout your design, or just ease of development for whoever is going to be developing the screens that you've designed, and just ensuring that everything works on real devices. I'm going to go ahead and impute, say, iPhone 13 and 14 on my screen. And there, just keep this aside. But you can also impute based on what you want to be working on. If you're working on a phone device, a mobile device rather, or a desktop device. There are also different sizes for desktop here. And my favorite for desktop is always the 1440 by 1024, just this one. I feel like different designers use different frames for their design, but these are my favorites. And they're actually standard based on research and what I've heard from various designers. The next here is the section. Now, what the section does, like the name implies, is to help you organize several things that you're working on and put them in sections. If you're working for Glow, everything that contains Glow design wise would be here. If it's MTN, everything design wise would be in MTN. Just helps keep your canvas organized basically. That's the purpose of your section. Then we have the slice as well, the slice tool, which is this. Now, the slice tool is used to export specific parts of your design, rather. Basically, select just the parts or section that you'd like to export instead of the entire frame. If you have a phone frame and say you had a design here, you say you designed a mobile app for maybe an e-commerce brand, and you wanted to just select a specific portion of your frame, you just kind of draw in and fix it, and you can export that portion of the screen instead of the entire frame. Yeah, that's what we have for frame, section, and slice. Please let me know if I can keep going, or if there are questions, or if you're just unclear about anything that you'd like me to revisit. Thank you, Farida. The next thing we have here is our shapes. And shapes are like the building blocks of your design. You literally cannot design without your shapes because they give you form and they give meaning to your entire design. Because you can't just, I mean, I'm sure we all understand what I'm trying to say. We have the triangle, for example. The triangle, let me put it down here. Yeah, that's a triangle. Zooming in and clicking on it, the triangle has four corner radii, one for each corner. There's one, two, three, four. And there are certain shapes that I think are very special. And these are the shapes that are very versatile, meaning you can kind of transform it into another shape. You can kind of round the corners rectangle without even going to your properties panel to adjust it. You could just do it from here. And another thing is you could just say, okay, no, I don't want a rectangle anymore. I want a circle. And just turn it into it. Okay, sorry. Turn the entire rectangle to a circle. Let me go back to a rectangle. The next is a line. I'm going to give us like say 3 minutes after I'm done with shapes to practice everything that we're doing here. We have the line and it's just drawing a straight line. It can be vertically placed or horizontally placed depending on what you need it for your design. That's pretty much straightforward. We have the arrow, which is just an arrow for indicating movement or progression, just direction in diagrams, and wireframes as well, which we would get to as we progress into the course. This is the line, this is the arrow, this is the rectangle. The next one we have here is the ellipse, which is called the circle as well. Now, the circle is a very special shape. By default, it can be a perfect circle or an oval, depending on what you need it to be and how you resize it. Here, it's a circle. I'm going to duplicate it again and turn it into something else. Clicking on this, okay, no, before I even go into that, it could be an oval shape, like I said. This is an oval. The circle again can also be clicking on this arc, can be this. It can also be this. Honestly, it can be a lot of things. I can go on and on. It can also just be this. Let's do one more, guys. And it can be this. A pie. Okay. Here. And you can also convert it back into a circle. Yeah, that's the good thing about a circle. It can also be this. Honestly, design is really fun. You just have to, I mean, know what you want and what you're trying to achieve, and you're all good. The next shape we have here is the polygon.
All right. Someone is asking you a question. Sorry.
Okay,
How did you duplicate this shape?
okay. There's a shortcut. You could just copy and say paste, and you have it there. Or you could click on CMDD to duplicate it, and you have it just immediately. And I think Figma is really amazing, guys. It's why I have kind of run away from other softwares, which is bad because as a designer, you should be, it's a flex if you can design with multiple softwares. I know of a company that wants their designers using Sketch, but the thing about Sketch is that it's unlimited to MacBooks. They provide you with a MacBook, which I think is really cool because I love MacBooks. Timmy said he's not a fan, but yeah, Figma has all of these in store for us. When you click on the move icon there, the arrow icon in the first one, you can see the shortcuts just right beside it. You could just click on V. That's when you're really familiar. When you get familiar with Figma, you click on V and the move tool is activated. When you click on H, the hand tool is active without having to come to the toolbar at all. When you click on K, that you're trying to resize, and immediately it's just active. And that's the good thing about Figma. It's just right there. The software is just easy to navigate without help, honestly. If you have help, that's a plus for you, which we have now. But if you don't, it's not hard to navigate through Figma. CMDD to duplicate. I'm not sure what it is to duplicate on Windows. Are
From
they just
Windows, it's Control D, right?
okay? Yeah.
Windows Control D.
Okay. Thanks, Timmy. The next we have here is the polygon. I'm trying to dissect all of the shapes. We see the various things that you can do and how to just kind of explore while designing, not restricting yourself to the rectangle or the circle. We have the polygon, which is also a very special shape because it is very versatile. And it begins with a triangle with one radius at the top. And now you can go ahead to turn this to a pentagon or a hexagon or an octagon. Just it goes on. It just the list goes on really. This is a decagon. Now from a decagon, you could go back to say a nonagon, which is 9. You could go back to 8, just clicking on the count here to an octagon. And it's just really fun to use, as we can see. And the last shape here is a star, which is my favorite actually. Now, the star has a radius, has the ratio, and has the count. Now, let's tweak this star a bit and see the various things that it can do. You can say increase the count to 10. Just play around, guys, until you just have, I don't know, funny looking stuff. Just keep dissecting it, if that's the right word to use, until you just have several shapes here. Let me do something else with this one. It could be this. It could, yeah, it could be this. It could just be several things, basically. Yeah. Now, the last option here is the image. Here, you have direct access into your documents where you can import images in from your system into Figma. I'm going to go ahead to import one of these images, then maybe just tweak it around a bit. Let's take this image and bring it in. Then, like I said, I'm going to use K now, and we're going to use K to resize just to make it either bigger or smaller, depending on how you want it to look on your frame. If it's a desktop frame, then it probably should be bigger. And if it's a mobile frame, it should be smaller and the right size that fits in. Then we have the pen and pencil tool. Now, the pen tool is used to create custom shapes. Oh, I'm sorry. Before I go ahead with the pen tool, let's take, say, 3 minutes to just play around with the shapes. And just let me know if let's play around with the shapes that we've gone over. The rectangle, the shapes, just familiarize yourself with them and how to tweak them into several things.
First, I want everybody to kind of like just take a breather because that might seem like a lot for some of us. And I don't want us to feel overwhelmed. It's just kind of like an introduction to it. First thing you should all just do, right, is first, how many people here have actually created a new Figma file? Like there you can see this type of screen. I mean, please, if you have created the new Figma file, right, just in the comment section, just say yes. Don't worry, just say yes in the comment section that yes, we have created it. And if you are still confused on how to create a new design file, say explain. Just tell me to explain if you are still confused. Adejoke, what's up now? You have a question, sorry. Yeah.
I lost when she was talking about the circle turning to a donut, turning to half circle or something like that. I
Oh,
didn't
yeah,
get
don't
that.
worry. Yeah. She will still go back to that. Right?
Yeah, I'll go over
But
that
yes,
again.
but first, let us even make sure everybody has been able to create new Figma files. That's good. Oh, good. I guess almost everybody did. Now, the next thing is first thing, before any of you guys even start doing the donut and anything, just create one circle, one rectangle, one star, one triangle, one of each, one line. Just create one each. After you guys do that, I want you guys to just go in there and just say shapes created. Just type created. Once I can see 10 to 20 people say shapes have been created, then we are going to move on to the next one. Let's take it one bit at a time. Good. Shapes created. Create one of each. Just one of each shape. Don't do anything to it. Just create it. It doesn't matter. Even if it looks ugly, don't worry. You've created a shape. You can always modify it. You get. I'm seeing shapes created. Now, I'm happy that we understand that. Now, Toria, I want you to now just go back and just show them how do you turn the circle to whatever.
Sorry if I was moving too fast, guys. Okay, let's start with the rectangle. Rectangle has 4 corner radius. The first one, the second, the third, and the fourth. You could actually click on any one to kind of give it rounded corners, or you could just pull it in all the way to form a full circle. I'm going to take it back and redo again, just for the sake of people that didn't get that. You click on one of the radius and pull it in. They could do that, and it could also go in to be a full circle just this way. Those are the only shapes that the rectangle, it could be a rectangle, and it could be a rectangle with rounded corners and a circle. Now for the line, your line can either be horizontal this way because it's a line, or it could just be vertical this way, like say, let's say 90 degrees this way. And the line does not have, it's not versatile. Those are the two things that a line can be in your design. Then you have the arrow as well. It could be up, or could just like change directions and be down, or just facing different directions, basically this way, or facing down, and you could flip it down this way, just, or facing left or right. That's it for the line. Now for the circle has just one arc here. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this with CMD or Control D. And clicking on the arc, you could push it up this way. You could also go this way in, clicking on the ratio. You could close it up this way, clicking on the sweep. There are 3 dots. There's the sweep, there's the ratio, and we have the start here. Now clicking on the sweep, I'm pulling it down this way, kind of gives it a donut-like shape. It could form a pie as well. CMDD, and this would be, you could just like tweak it anyhow you want it, basically, to form this, and you have a pie. The circle, you could create shapes with the circle. Then we have the polygon here. It's a triangle, starts with, it has 1 radius. Pulling it down this way, clicking on the radius gives the corners a rounded, makes it rounded. And you could increase the counts to say if you want a pentagon 5 or a decagon, or just as many corners as you want and size as you want. It starts with a triangle. Are we good? Are there questions? I did okay. Yes, I can see your hands up. You have your hands raised up. You have a question.
Sorry, it has been answered. It was the donut thing, and I'm still trying to get it.
Okay, you're still trying to get it, or
Yeah.
do you want me to go over it one more time?
No, okay, let me explain something. I think a few people have this problem, and I know where this problem typically is from. Some people don't know how to zoom out and zoom in. If you are too zoomed out and you create a very big rectangle or triangle, you will not see those anchor points. First, please help me just show them how to zoom in and zoom out. What are the shortcut controls? And what are some of the manual ways that they can zoom in and zoom out so that they'll be able to make those curves happen? Because some people will not be seeing the anchor points because they are way too zoomed out. That's
Okay.
where the problem is.
Okay. First, you could zoom in by tapping on the canvas and just kind of magnifying with your with your keypad. That's a way to zoom in. Or you could click on the
Wait, hold on.
plus.
How do you magnify with your keypad? Like, are there shortcuts?
I'm not sure I use the shortcut.
All right, so everyone, let me just tell you the
Yeah.
shortcuts. For most of us might be using Windows. Once you hold Control key on your keyboard down, for Microsoft is Command. Sorry, for iOS it's Command. Hold your Control down, two fingers on your trackpad, scroll up or down. It's Control, hold Control, two fingers on your trackpad, swipe up or swipe down. You'll be able to zoom in if you swipe up, be able to zoom out if you swipe down. Is it working for you guys? Is it working? In order to zoom in, just hold down the Command key or the Control key, two fingers on your trackpad, and just swipe up or down. If you're using an external mouse, hold that same Control. There's a wheel that is under your mouse. Just scroll that wheel up. It will see to zoom you in and then to zoom you out.
All right, guys. Yeah, I'm still on the polygon. You just hold on the radius. That's to round the corners, and you always click on count to increase the amount of size that you want. If you want more size, just always click on count, as the name implies, and you get more. Yeah, that's it for the polygon. Now we have the star. Are we good? Let me know in the comment section if we're good with the polygon, guys. Okay, the last one here is the star. The star has one radius. It has the ratio points and the count. Basically, three dots that you can see on your screen. The radius, which is to kind of round the corners. You click on the radius, and you know that your star that had pointed edges becomes curved, cornered also. Then we have the ratio and we have the count. The count is always to increase how many sides it has, and the ratio is to resize, kind of make it bigger or smaller, which also reduce the amount of size as well. Because if we have here, you can increase it and you have more sides. And if you push it back in, it kind of goes to form a star again. Then the count increases the number of edges. I'm going to duplicate again, CMD or Control D, and click on the count again and increase the count to say 9. Increase the count one more time. You see how versatile this particular shape is and how many things shapes you can achieve with this one. That way, now it looks like something from biology. And just it goes on that way. You can take it back or just completely take it out this way. And then there's just things that you can do with shapes. It's fun. It's fun to play around with shapes. Do we have the star figured out yet, guys? Is anybody finding it difficult to form those shapes before we move on? Anybody? Okay, I'm guessing I can't see anybody saying anything. So we're good. Okay, then the images. To get an image or a video onto your Figma file, Figma accesses your documents. That's the documents that you have saved on your laptop. You could just click anything you want or type in, if you have the name saved from wherever you saved it, type in anything and bring it in here. Yes, have balloon here, open, and kind of just click or drag to place. I'm going to click and Figma places it. If it's too large, just click on K to resize. K, and you could make it smaller or bigger depending on what purpose you need it to serve in your design frame. That's it for shapes, guys. Can we move on? Okay, the star is working, but the rectangle has no radius. Okay, Timmy said earlier, you're probably too zoomed out. I'm going to go back to the rectangle now. When you click on, you have to click on it to see that it has a radius. If you're not clicking on it, then it's not going to show the 4 radiuses that it has. So radii that it has. You have to click on it and you see these points 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you click on any to kind of round the corners or turn it into a circle. To expand, you just click and go back to take it back to the rectangle that it was before. Blessing, are you good now? Okay, that's it for shapes, guys. The next one that we have is the pen and the pencil. The pen tool, which is this, is used to create custom shapes, illustrations, or just draw completely complex designs or shapes that you normally cannot form with the shapes that Figma has provided you. I'm going to move here and draw something with the pen tool. Just you tap on your mouse and move, tap again, move, tap again, just forming the shape that you want. I'm going to draw a cross this way, click. Every time that you pull, you just click, pull and click until you're done forming whatever shape you want. And there you have a cross. Yeah, that's it for the pen tool. It basically just draws out very complex shapes for you that you can't get from the shapes that Figma has provided here. The next one here is the pencil. Now, the pencil is more of a freehand drawing tool. It allows you to create organically drawn lines, just kind of doodle around with anything. I'm sorry, let me do that again. With the pencil, I'll probably just draw a mobile device. Okay.
Oh
Uh,
boy, your mobile device, man.
we have here, like I said, Tim, it's freehand. We have a mobile device here, and this is the home button. I'm drawing an iPhone, guys. Just draw a turn maneuver with your mouse, basically, and you have the camera up here, and say it's Instagram, for example. This is just all that the pencil is for. It's mostly used in UI UX design for wireframing, which we're going to get to along the course. Yeah, that's what the pencil does. Moving on to, have we tried it out? Do we have questions? Trying to make sure that I'm carrying everyone. Okay, moving
Yes,
on to the
everybody can
text.
actually sketch that as well. Everybody should sketch something.
Okay,
Just you can sketch something, and once you are done, just say, just describe what you sketched. If it's a cat, if it's a dog, if it's a house, if it's a key, if it's a spanner, whatever. Sketch something so you can actually sketch. And if it's a font too, just put it there. To undo is to press Ctrl Z. Press Ctrl Z as many times as you want to. The thing
undo.
about Figma is Figma registers every action you do as an action. You click on something, it registers it. You have to Ctrl Z many times to undo things. You understand? Every click you have to undo it. Ctrl Z until you see the visual of your undo. Good. Double sketch a car, a mobile device. Good. Login wireframe. Interesting. These are nice. Who else? Who sketched pineapples? Good. Good. Awesome. Yeah.
I'd love to see who sketched the pineapple. Okay, moving on, guys. The next tool here is the text tool. And this is an essential tool because what's a design without the text? To activate the text, you basically just click on text and then go ahead to type anything you want. And yeah, that's it. That's all that you need for the text. It's quite straightforward. Obviously, it's going to be inside your frame, and then you can adjust the typography here, but that's just for another class. But yeah, that's all that the text tool does. Then the next tool here is the comments tool. I really like this tool because I was talking earlier about how Figma lets you collaborate with people, or like if you're working with a team. The comment tool is a collaboration feature that allows designers or developers or just anyone that's involved to give feedback clearly on the design file. Say, moving back to the frame that I imported first time, that's the phone frame. Okay, here. Say you worked here and You wanted to drop a comment for a colleague, you just click on the comment and type nice work and send in. And you can drag it to wherever you want it to, wherever you'd like to place the comment on. You could also type great job. Yeah, and just place it wherever. And the good thing is that whoever is designing would see the name and know that, okay, this comment was from this particular person and this comment is from this particular person. And it helps the team communicate efficiently without having to leave the file to chat somewhere else. You don't have to say go out of Figma to WhatsApp to talk about something that happened on Figma. Everything that you need to do, everything that you need to say is just happening right there on Figma. It's just a really nice feature that Figma included. Moving on, we have the resource tool, and this is where you find there's something called plugins. Plugins are basically, when I say tools that you get resources from, Unsplash is a plugin that provides you with images. Clicking on Unsplash, please give me a second. I'm trying to open Unsplash to show you guys what we have in there. Okay, it's running. If you need an image and you don't want to leave Figma or go into your laptop document, you could just come here to type, say, pizza, and you see several images of pizza, and you click on it, and it automatically drops into your device or frame or wherever you need it to be. Sorry, let me do that one more time. Okay, here you have pizza rather, and say, okay, I'm going to do something else. If you want your pizza to be inside a rectangle or a circle or whatever, you draw out your shape and you click on, say, let's use this one. While it's highlighted, and the image automatically goes into the shape, and then you adjust it however you want it to look. There are other plugins as well. We have Pexels, we have Iconify for icons. I'm going to show you guys what I mean by icons, just so that everyone is on the same page. Type in Iconify, and here there are thousands of icons that you could use for your designs. Basically, everything you want is here. If you want a thumbs up icon or a heart icon, or you could even type home, and just everything would come up right here. Yeah, that's what we have for this section, the resource. There are thousands of plugins that you could use for your design. As we go further into design, we would let you guys know about the frequently used ones. Yeah, that's all I have for this session on Figma basics. I hope you found this introduction helpful, guys. Truly, truly was fun doing this with you guys. I'll hand over to Timmy now. Thanks, Timmy.
Awesome. Thank you very much, everyone. I think Toria did very, very well. She did a lot of justice to that. That was amazing. Thank you.
Thanks,
Great.
Timmy.
Let's now take it back a little bit. Any questions about anything she showed you guys that maybe some of you guys did not understand? That then I would pretty much just show you exactly the same thing she showed you guys. Anyway, let's get back into the main theme for today. Let me allow this load. Yeah. Me, I'm typically not in dark mode. I kind of like my things just being white. Personally, it's a personal preference. I'm sure most of you guys love dark mode for some reason. First things first, let me create each of those shapes. And let me go in. I'll draw a line. I'll come in here. I'll draw an arrow as well. Okay. It doesn't matter where you put it. Just draw. But I'm sure you guys have already done this exactly how to do exactly what I'm doing right now. And I'll draw a circle. I'll draw a polygon. And then I'll also bring in a star. Now, in these options down here, you will see the last option here is images and videos. I can actually click on this and it will dive into my system to go and find images or whatever. You can find images from your system. You can even grab videos and put them in. Let's leave that one out for now. The problem is you guys are too zoomed out. you will not see those anchor points. All you just be seeing is going to be, oh, I can resize it, reshape it, or whatever. That is what you'll be seeing. The main thing is I want you to be able to see the anchors inside of each of the shapes. Now, another example again is some of you guys are zoomed out, but whenever you create a shape, you draw it large. Like it's kind of like on your screen. The problem with that is you have to select the image and then your mouse needs to be on top of it for you to even see that these are your anchor points, right? Now, even if you can't see these anchor points, there's something on this side, which I like to call the edit panel. Any shape you are selecting has a unique set of edits that becomes available here. If you see the should I say square or the rectangle here, there are only a few things available. There's width, there's height. When you see W, that is what width. When you see height, that is the H, that is height. Appearance is just talking about want to fade it out with opacity, or this one here, corner radius. Whenever you hear radius, it just means a curve. The corners of anything, any shape that has a sharp edge by default would always have a corner radius. The only thing that will not have a corner radius is our circle, because circles typically don't need cover corner radiuses because they are generally just curved all around. Now, looking at this guy as well, you have sharp edges. The corner radius is available. But in addition to that, I can now increase the number of sides by increasing the count. The count is also available in the anchor point here. That's also fine. But you would see here as well, this guy also has a corner radius. But you notice, this our guy does not have a corner radius because generally it's just rounded all through. Now, look at the line as well. It's not really a 2D shape. It's a one-dimensional thing. It's just length, pretty much. That's all it is. Generally, I don't really think there's anything to really call when it comes to lines. But there's some other controls on lines that maybe you guys might want to check out. With this line now, when I select the line, I need to zoom in a little bit just to show you guys properly because the lines are always very thin. And you remember, when I say zoom in, I mean hold control on your keyboard, press control or command. 2 fingers on your trackpad or your mouse, swipe up, swipe down. It will zoom you in and zoom you out. You guys need to get used to that. It's one of the fastest ways to do anything. And understand, especially when you start designing 100 pages, 200 pages, 300 pages. It gets crazy. You have to focus on different things or go here to edit something or go there to edit something. Another example of another control for you guys again is try using just 2 fingers on your trackpad, no control, no command. Just swipe left or right to allow you to pan to the left or to the right, up or down. You can do that as well. Just 2 fingers, up, down, left, right. You can even do a circular motion as well with it, as long as it's 2 fingers that you're using on your trackpad. You guys can try that out. I'd like you guys to try it out to see if it works for you. Some old laptops don't have that same control. If that's not possible for you, then the alternative is to use that hand tool. But most times, I don't want you guys to come here to click on the hand tool manually. There's a shortcut for it. Once you hold your space bar, right, and then you click and drag, the hand will show up. You can see the hand. And then if you click, you just pan the page all around, up, down, left. If you're having an old laptop that doesn't use that 2-finger thing, you can use hold space bar down, click, and then just go up, down, left, however you want to. And then it's just kind of very easy, right? That way. But anyway, let's get back into the line. Something I wanted to show you guys. Let's zoom in. Please, I will not be able to see your hands if you guys are raising your hands. If you have any questions before I move too far, quickly ask me that I would, should I say, re-explain. Let's look at this line. Let me select the line. Over here, the line has only width because the height is not what you are controlling here. It's just a line. It's a one-dimensional shape, mostly. But there's something called stroke, meaning this line is 1 pixel thick. If I want to increase the thickness of this line, I can click on this one, and then I can type like 10 inside. Bam, I have a thicker line. I can come there, type 20. My line is thicker. This number is what determines the thickness of any line you draw. But let's go back to 1 by default. Now, you will notice something that there's the color, this thing here. We're not touching color today. Color is next week. I'll really teach you guys how to pick colors, depending on brands, depending on creating styles for consistency. There's a lot for you guys to learn when it comes to that. But this is just the basic size. So let us just assume that we cannot see this one. Let's just assume that it's this color, right? Whatever default color, if it's black or white for you, it's all fine. Just keep it that way. Now, over here, you will notice something. There's something called the start point, and there's something called an end point. They both have, every line will have a start and an end, always. Now, what this means is, how do we want our beginning points to look like? Now watch. If I move the mouse down to arrow, it gives me an arrow at the beginning point. It will change the arrow style when I go to the second version. It changes the arrow style. These are all the styles that are available for the beginning point. But also I can say I don't want to have an arrow. I just want the head to be a cap head. Once I click on round, if I zoom in, you will see it has a curved cap. You see, it has a curved cap because I chose a rounded edge for the line. If I come back here to, right to the end, and I try to do that as well, I can say, oh, at the end, I want it to now have an arrow. I can still do that same thing. Or I can change it and say, oh, instead I want it to be a circle. And then it still gives me that circle. And this last icon on the side here is just to invert it to say, oh, flip the end point to be in the beginning and flip this one to be back here. And if I click that, it just flips them. So now the cap is at the end, but now the circle is at the beginning. So I want you guys to try that with your line quickly. Try to just select the line, click on the line itself, increase the thickness of the line, and then give it anything you want for the beginning point and anything you want for the end point. And once you are done, just let me know in the comment section that you are done. Just say done. Very simply. Just say done. Okay. Who else is done? Good. Now, to be honest, some of these things, you would never use them much. Sometimes you might need them. But it's very important for you guys to know everything in its intricacy. Because your design will be very different from the next guy's design. Everybody will have different designs. Trust me, if I gave every single person on this call a brief to say, oh, go and design an app where people can buy apples, everybody will have different designs. No two designs will be alike because we have different inspirations, we have different ideas. No two designs will ever really be alike. Some things you will use in some projects. In other projects, you will never even use it at all because that project just does not require the use of that thing. But these are very important things to know, right? Now, how did you zoom it to show numbers? I did not zoom it to show numbers. What happens here is, by default, Figma has these two left side, right side panel, right? Now, these numbers are out here. And there's something I want to teach you guys again. There's something called rulers. I'll show you guys how to enable those rulers and also use guides as well. That's part of the class for today. Yeah. Now, the point is this. Anything you select, this side will always change. See, by the default, nothing was showing up here because I was not selecting anything. But if you want to see those numbers, select the line. You will see all of those things here. Everything will be here. There's appearance, there's layout, there's stroke. Stroke is where you are coming to, so you can change those settings. Now, any other one, see, I'm not selecting anything again. The numbers have disappeared. If I select rectangle, it shows up again. But remember, a rectangle is a two-sided, a 2D object. It has width, it has height. Therefore, you see the W, you see the H. You can change it here, or you can manually stretch it from here, however you want. And you see those numbers are changing as I am dragging it and changing the size. That's kind of like how it works. Anything you select, all the edits for it will show up on the right side. And that's kind of how it works. Let's move on. Going in a little bit deeper now. And that's just that for lines. Now, somebody said they didn't understand how to curve the circle. Now, look at this. I'm on the circle and I'm there. Those things are not showing up. Why? Because I'm too zoomed out. I need to zoom in enough to see those controls. I will zoom in a little bit more. Now you can see. Now, I call these guys the anchor points. And you can see what this looks like. It looks like a circle. That means it's a point where you can edit that particular shape. The form of the shape is what you are editing with, all these circular things. But these square ones, this is just for you to edit the sizing, the dimension of your shape. Whenever you see the square ones, Just know that it's about the dimension of the shape itself, not the form of the shape. The circles is for you to edit the form of the shape. Now, every shape has its own limited edit. Let's start from the rectangle. I think Victoria has already shown you guys this, but I'll also just show you briefly. For this, if I zoom in, all you can do with a rectangle is you can only edit the corner radius. That is all you can do with it by editing the form. That is mainly all you can do. Either you go in deep or you can just go slightly or a little bit less slightly. And you can just edit the corner radius. That is all you can do with this guy. When it comes to the circle, at first, you only have one anchor point. The moment you click on that anchor point and you just click and open it up, now it looks like Pac-Man. Pac-Man a little bit more than you guys. But this is the point. Now it has opened up the mouth of that. But now we now have 1, 2, 3 anchor points to make edits to this guy. Now, this one here is start. This is just like an angle of rotation thing. And the reason why this is there is because you don't want to be rotating the shape itself all of the time, because in your actual design, this would misalign things when you rotate it from the outside. Rather than have that, this starting point is a better way to rotate your shape. You understand? Than using this, because it will break your entire design. Anyway, than to rotate your entire shape. Rotating what's inside is way better than rotating what's outside, especially for circles, right? Now, you can now see that we have this one that this was not there before, but now we have it. This one here, we already know what it does. It was the initial one. It's just for you to open the mouth a little bit more or less. Now, you want to create a donut. You already know that donut starts from the center. That is why you have that ratio in the center. Click on it and just drag it down, and it just opens that donut thing up for you. And you can still come back here and even close this back. And you can even still shrink this down. As long as those circles are showing up there, these anchor points, can always make them thinner or thicker, however you want it to be. It's all good. And that is how the circle pretty much works. Any questions about circles? For those who had questions about circles specifically, I hope that kind of clarified maybe that issue a little bit. All right. Moving on to the next thing, which is going to be this guy, right? Now, I cannot see those things. All I'm seeing is these anchor points that have those, what's it called? Those box shapes. This is only for size. That means all I'll just be doing is editing the size. It doesn't make sense. What I want to do is edit the form itself. Therefore, once you hold Control and then you zoom in by using your 2 fingers to swipe in, then you can see you have 1, 2 anchor points. Now, once I click on this, you already know what radius means. It's just to curve any sharp edge. That's basically what radius means. You're just giving like a radial type angle to it. That's what it means. Radius is just for that. On this other side, count means the number of sides. And when you look at this one, count here is saying 3. Because we have 1, 2, 3 sides. 1 more sides, click and then drag. Now we have 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. If I click and I go up again, we have 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 sides. Depending on the number of sides you want, you can keep increasing it. But just know, at some point, it will start looking like a circle. Maybe count beyond 12 might not really make much sense. But again, it depends on exactly what you want to do for your design. It depends. There's a lot that you guys will learn. I'll not bother your heads with that for now. I just want you guys to just always remember that design is not art. Remember we said that yesterday. Design is not the same thing as art. You cannot say, I want to create a button. I want it to look like, should I say octagon? Nobody will understand that is a button because it will not be clear. We are used to buttons being rectangular in shape and having text inside. But again, there are rules you guys will learn, design principles and all of that. We'll talk about all of those things at some point. You have to edit to be able to see the anchor points and curve the edges and all of those that you typically do. And that is pretty much that for this shape. Now, before I move ahead to talk about maybe, I don't think nobody actually asked the question about the star. The same thing applies to the star. Once you zoom in and you start seeing those points, you can edit those things. This guy reminds me of what's it called? Different things you can do with these tools. If you want a fat star, you can do that. If you want a very slim star as well, can just have something that looks slim, and you can increase the number of legs of your star or reduce the number of legs. That's just what it is. As long as you see this anchor point, just know you can actually edit that shape. And that's that. Now, there's something I wanted to talk to you guys about. These rulers that I'm showing that I have on my own, these rulers 150, 100, blah, 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 at the top as well. How do you enable and disable it? The shortcut is Shift R. Just press Shift R on your keyboard. It enables and disables the ruler. As much as you tap it, to just bring it in and hide it. I think for Mac users as well, it's also Shift R. Just press the Shift button, hold it down, and tap on R. The arrows, the numbers, the rulers will show up. And on the other side as well, if you click on it again, it will disable it. Just enable and disable. But then, for some of you guys, shortcut might not work. I'll also show you guys how to manually go there and find those rulers, right? Now, I can actually come here where my zooming in is. And then I'll click on the drop down. And you see there's zooming, but you can see rulers. I can actually just click on it and then disable it, and then you can see the numbers are not there again. And if I want to enable it again, I can just come to where we have that percentage thing. This 108 is here. Click on that drop down, and I'll just come back and just enable rulers again. Bagam, and it's there again. Rulers also, and one thing rulers help us do is this. Let me show you why rulers are important. Toby is one of the biggest users of rulers. If you click on this and then you line it up, I can actually drag a line out of my ruler. What you need to do is this to actually bring a line out of the ruler is. Now, there are two types of double-edged arrow that your mouse will turn to when you come to this side. The first type is the white one. The white one just means you are expanding the sidebar. That is not what I want you to do. Shrink it back down. The second one is at the middle. It is a black double-edged arrow. Your mouse will become a black double-edged arrow. Once it becomes that, just click and drag a line out of there. And then you have a line. Now, what this line does is it can snap to another one, and I can say, I want to align something on the same plane as this first big rectangle that I have. I can say, I want to line this other one there. I will move this, and then I'll just, until it snaps there. Now, they are both aligned along the same axis. This is why we use rulers, to make sure things align perfectly. And down the line, one of the things, there are different levels of a UI designer. There's level 1 to level 5. Level 1 is pretty much somebody who's just getting into it. Your alignment will be very off. That will pretty much be around where you guys are right now. Level 2 is you are beginning to get alignment, but there's a lack of consistency with colors, with typography, with fonts. And understand? Maybe even your shapes. Measurements are showing decimal points. There'll be issues in there, but at least you are aligning things. You understand? The point now is first get to level 1 before you start thinking of getting to level 2. Understand? Alignment is one of the most important things. This line as well, I can come to the top too, and then grab another line from there. You see that black double-edged one? And I can say I'll leave the line here, but I want my guys to align with this guy. I'll just drag this, and then it will align there. Now it's on the line, Abi. This one to align. I'll grab it, and then it's touching that same distance. Now, they are aligned along the same axis. That is why we use those rulers. So I want you guys to try it. Grab an horizontal ruler from the side and grab a vertical ruler from the side and try to align your shapes together. Ones that are arranged top to bottom, align them on the side, like on the straight line that comes downwards. And any shapes that you have arranged side by side, just make sure they touch from the top, right, next to each other. Try that out. Once you guys are done, just see alignment done. Just so I can know that you guys have done that as well. Now, the shape part is the most interesting part. These are some of the boring things. So aligning this, aligning that. But at the end of the day, being a very good designer requires you to be able to align things. And let us quickly even look at this pen tool, this amazing pen tool that you guys were talking about. And this is the pen tool. Here, there are some other options. Anywhere you see a drop down, just know there are other options of things in there. Now, pencil, you can just click, scribble, draw whatever. You can draw something, draw the eyes, draw the mouth. my drawing is horrible. You can draw somebody's hands, and then maybe the guy is wearing one nice trouser, and then before the guy also has very skinny legs, or maybe he has yams on his legs. I like to have fun with my own designs. Let's say the guy has yams, and the guy is wearing like one nice Timberland. You understand? Hey. My Timberland is an ugly one, but you just have to bear with me. You understand? And pretty much that's the pencil. You can sketch whatever you want to sketch. It's all good. It's all fun. And yeah, that's that. Now that's the pencil tool. This is just the pencil tool. Now the pen tool itself, it's more of a precision tool. Illustrators typically use pen tools to like sketch or create unique shapes. Now, one thing you will notice with the pencil is when you select it, you have a dot that always follow you around. In order to start working with this, you need to zoom in enough first. And then what do you actually want to create? Now, you need to just start. The way pen tools work is you create shapes by registering points, dots, right? Points, anchor points where you want things to hold, basically. Watch, I'll start by creating my first one. I'll click. Now I have that dot. That's where my shape is starting from. Then I'll come up here. I'll click again. That's created a line now. That's my second dot. Then I'm coming here and I'm saying, I want this to be straight up, down. Now I have another dot. Then I'm coming back here, another dot. I can come back up, another dot. However I want it to be, I can have a very unique shape here. I can come here, another shape. I can come maybe somewhere here as well, another shape. Another one, and another dot. And before you do it, I pretty much have an entire shape registered. But the problem is, you are not done yet with your shape. The way you can know that you are done with the shape totally is to now press escape on your keyboard. Once you press escape, all of those dots will stop showing. Now you have a shape that is kind of like a line. Now, the only thing that you have here now is this line is showing the outline of all of those dots. But we can do it in a way that the inside of this actually has a color. And how can we do that? Select the shape again. And you see here, fill. Fill means we want a color to fill the inside of this. Once I click on this plus, it will give it a gray color. Now we can go inside and then give you red or whatever, but we'll talk about colors fully. But you can actually do colors within Figma and inside of this. This is how you can register a shape plainly. And even if you don't want it to have that black line around it, you can actually select the shape again and then just hide the eyes or remove it, the stroke. Now we just have a shape that is just a standard shape. And that is how you use the pen tool. You can use it in so many ways. You need to create multiple different shapes and then combine them together to form something unique. But that is an illustration course. This is not an illustration course. We keep it very simple to what you need to know as a UI UX designer. I hope that clarified the pen tool. Whenever you finish the shape, always press escape. But let me show you guys something extra again. And let me quickly create one fast shape for you guys. 1, 2, 3. Let's create some random lines, random dots. And let's just end that here. Now, with these guys, there's something else in addition. And normally it would be maybe like I want to like a master class in pen tools. But I'll show you guys something. If you notice over this pen tool, after you create your shape, you will notice that there are these two guys. This guy is called a paint bucket. It is to allow you to paint the inside. It's like adding a fill to the shape itself. This one is what we call the bend tool. It bends the corners of this guy. If I select bend now, if I come to this guy and I click, it will bend it. Now, every bend will have two legs. But for me to go back to modifying that, I have to then come back, right, and press my escape. And then I'll go back to my bend tool, and then I'll select that same point. You can undo and redo the bend just by clicking on the same point. Add a bend, remove the bend. But if you add a bend, you can now control that bend. So I don't want the bend to be this much. If you come here and you select that line, this is what we call the legs. You can then play with these legs to reduce the bend or stretch it longer or make it shorter. It's like a wonderful tool. You can create amazing things. Animators use bend tool a lot. That's why Figma kind of has everything that almost every software has, except for video editing anyway. But almost everything that most design softwares have, Figma can actually do those things. You can create elements here and export it as vector graphics to some other software, and you turn it into something amazing. The bend tool, you can also come here and bend this line too. And then you modify it a little bit like, okay, I want it to maybe bend a little bit more. come here again, I'll bend this one, but this bend is too crazy. I want the bend to be less. You understand? There are some amazing things you can actually do with this tool on its own. And then I can say, let me bend this edge and bend this edge. Now it's looking like some kind of whale or fish. And I can still add that paint bucket thing. I just paint the inside and I press escape. And now I have a weird shape that has a gray color inside. That fill already is just added to it. That's kind of like an amazing thing that I could do with the pen tool with this. Now let's go back. Let's now quickly talk about those icons that you said. Oh, the home icon, the like icon, images. How do we bring images into this thing? Now, when I come here, you will see some plugins that I have. I pay for some of my own plugins, but most of you guys will not see anything here. To find plugins, you have to now navigate to where you can see plugins and widgets. Click on that plugins and widgets, and then you have a long list. But then you can search. When you search, just say you want to see pixels. Pixels is also very good. Now, pixels, if I select pixels, I just click on pixels, even though it's not part of today's class, but let's just talk about it quickly. It will pop up in front of your Figma. And then you see images. If you want an image, just tap on it. And then it will just get added to your design straight up. You don't even have to drag it or anything. Just tap on it and to bring it in. But one beautiful thing I like about pixels is I can select a shape, any shape. And if I tap on an image, the image will enter inside of the shape. Now I have this nice looking one, but then the image is inside of it. Even with this weird shape here, if I scroll down and I just say I want this bike image to be inside, I'll just click. Now the bike image is inside of it. And then it looks kind of nice. These are things that you guys can do. First, these are the steps. Click on the last icon here. Then navigate to plugins and widgets. Then search for pixels, P-E-X-E-L-S, pixels. You will see there it's a black icon, you can't miss it. Not pixels, pixels. You click on that pixels, it will pop up on your screen. Once it pops up, you can even search for images. You can say black people. It will give you black people, somebody that's crying. You can see different images of people, and then you can just say, oh, but I want it to maybe be the background of my shapes. Select the shape. Just add it, background, and it's there. And you notice something. Once I start resizing it, you can see it's not showing more people because the size is getting, and it's very responsive and fluid. That is the beauty of plugins. It gives us more capability beyond what Figma by default comes with. So these are extensions to what we can do with Figma, beyond what the original Figma team did. And that's pretty much the image part. Any questions about plugins so far? If I move to the final part. Okay, who else? Any questions? Any confusions? I hope I'm not confusing you guys too much and I'm not loading you with too many things. Awesome. Okay, good. Let's go inside now. Now, there's something called, she showed you something called frames. Now, this frame is what you guys will use the most. There's no project you ever do in your life that you don't use frame. Now, what this frame means is, what are you designing? That is what the frame means. If I get, okay, I would like you guys to participate in this a little bit. If you guys, okay, just hear me out. If I come to you guys and I say, oh, I want to design an app that allows children to learn in a very flexible way. They can learn on the go. Which device do you think we'll be designing for? Children have tablets and all of that. Fine, that's one thing. Not every child has tablet, but almost every parent has a phone. Okay, and that's part of UX. UX is you understanding what is the best market for the business. Remember, we spoke about it yesterday. The business is important. The users are equally important. Because we are designing for tablets, but because we're designing for tablet doesn't mean it cannot be responsive for mobile phones as well. But one of the first places you would think of is what is the most common device in the world that people would access this from? Mobile is the most common. That is why you should always think outside of the box. Where is your market really? That's just kind of like an example. Frame is about the device that you want to design for. If I come and I say, oh, I want my company to have this amazing website where they can understand all of our services, they can buy clothes from us, They can buy shoes and bags. What device do you think I would design for from the like at first? Stock, right? But also mobile. Because most of us we typically see ads on our phones and we tap on it and then it takes us to our Google Chrome on our phones and then it opens the website. But most websites, and there's something like there's a big argument in the design industry that's been on for over 8 years, even probably over 10 years. There's something people always say, they always design mobile first. In my opinion, it's better to design desktop first. Once I can design something beautiful on a desktop, I know how it looks, how it's supposed to look, and it's approved by the, what's it called? By the person who gave me the job. Turning it into mobile is the easiest part. Turning mobile into desktop is one of the craziest things because on desktop, you have a space to play around. But on mobile, you have very limited space and you can only arrange things from top to bottom. People have to scroll. On desktop, you have enough space on the left and the right to put things. So I always believe it's always better. But again, you guys can do more studying and see what works for you personally. But it's a personal preference. Let's go in. Frame is you have to determine which device do I want to design for right from the beginning. You always have a brief for any project you're working on. If it's phone, you see on the side here, as soon as I clicked on frame, we now have phone, tablet, desktop, presentation, smartwatch, paper, social media, Figma community. If I'm designing for maybe a desktop design like websites, I'll click desktop. Immediately I click on it, you see, this is the desktop size. This is a frame. This looks like a rectangular shape, but it's not a shape. You see, no matter how much I zoom in, there's no anchor points. This is a frame. And whenever you see frames, it is represented with hashtags. This hashtag sign is what represents frames in Figma. That's what that means. And the name is always written at the top of it. You always see the name of the frame. It's called desktop 1. If I'm designing for mobile, I go back to frame here, and your job is not to draw it. No, you don't draw it yourself. They are standard sizes. And let me just click on that frame thing again. Look at this. MacBook Air is 1280 by 832. That is the standard industry size. Your job is not to resize that. Your job is to click on it and use it as. You see, MacBook Air is smaller than the desktop screen size because obviously they have different screen sizes. So the frame you work with, and also another rule of thumb, whenever you start a design with one particular frame, that is the frame you use for every single page of that design. The same size, that frame size. That is what you will use for every single frame of that entire app. Even if it has 500 pages, you will have that same frame 500 times with different designs and different pages inside of them. That is how it works. You cannot say, oh, desktop for home page, MacBook for a settings page. No, it doesn't work that way. It will look like shit. There are basic standards that you should follow. Coming back, there's something in everything you do, right, in order to design an app would need to be done inside of this desktop screen. To be done inside of this. Your design will always be placed inside of here. Let's say I wanted to create a button, and let me just use I want to use a rectangle to create a button, and then I have text. And I just click, I just say sign up. And just for the sake of this, I'll just use some odd numbers. I just say 36. And I have this here. Now, this looks like a button. Let's just say this is a button. And we'll just drag this and put it at the center of the page. Now, this guy is inside of this frame. But then, constraints is not something I can teach you completely today. I'll just show you guys a little bit of it. But anything you are doing, you can actually align it anyhow you want. And trust me, this line, I can also bring a line specifically for this frame. After I place a line, like a ruler inside of this, you'll see the ruler will not extend outside of the frame. It belongs, because I dragged it into the frame, it belongs to the frame. Now, there's something we call layout grids. Layout grids are things that allows us to be able to arrange things on specific spots within a page. And by default, you'll see any frame you create, when you select that frame, you'll see something called layout grid down here. There's a specific class about layout grid itself, but for now, I'll just show you the basic one. Once you click on the plus, it will use red lines to divide your screen into 8 pixels. Now, for you guys, it will probably be a default of 10 pixels. Me, I've changed my own settings to be 8, and I'll show you guys how to change that later. 8 pixels. Now, if I zoom in, you will see my screen has been divided into 8, 8, 8, 8, 8. If I'm counting numbers, right, I want this big line, this ruler, where I want it to be. I'll just say I want it to be maybe here. If I think 8 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 is a number. Let's just give it that. Now, that will be equivalent to the distance of this guy from this side. And there's something we call margins and paddings in design. Margins means we are leaving space from the edge. We don't put our buttons on the edge of the screen. It doesn't make sense. You kind of feel like maybe that page is not loaded completely or something. You will notice that. That is typically how it is. We leave space from the side, we leave space from the top, we leave space from the left as well. And even between elements within a page as well, we leave spaces. Margins, paddings is something we always use. You guys will learn everything in future classes as well. Layout grids, there are specific layout grids that we can create for an actual UI, but there are rules and there are some things you should learn before that. I will just stop this for now. Do we have any questions that I have not answered about anything? Also, mobile, sorry, before we go, mobile as well. Let me just go to frame again. And phone. There are different types of phones, right? Now, I want you guys to, there's a question I have a feeling might be on you guys' heads. Oh, what if we want the app to be able to show up on iPhone 13, iPhone 14, iPhone 16? Does it mean we have to design in different screens? No. You just have to pick one base design size, frame size. Whatever, however it looks in that frame, right? In that frame design, right? Is how it's going to look on every other type of phone. As long as you pick one to be the basis of your design, you are fine. It's not about, oh, we have to design Android different, iPhone different, all of that different. In some organizations, you design Android look different from iPhone look, but it has nothing specifically to do about the frame itself. Whatever frame you decide to use for mobile device should be the same frame size for every single copy or for every version of the pages, you understand? Must be the same size that you're going to use. You understand? And that's just the last part. The same thing applies. You can also do the layout grid thing. You can also grab the same ruler and put it inside of it as well. The same thing applies. They are frames. And you will notice all of these shapes, their names are not written on them. But you can see this one, desktop one, iPhone. You can actually rename them as well. In future classes, we'll touch on those things. And that's where I'm pausing for now. My advice to you would always be start from designing the desktop first. Most corporate bodies, most organizations, they use laptops. Their mind is usually skewed towards, they want to see what it looks like on desktop first. Then just take, and I'll show you guys ways, easy ways. Auto layout is crazy. Now, it's the fastest way to work. Everything you will learn in this class is about auto layout. I'm not going to be teaching you with using shapes to create buttons or using simple text that can turn to buttons as well. I'll be teaching you guys. I'm not doing all of that old school stuff. I want you guys to become the masters of Figma, not the mediocre guys of Figma. Like, you will design 3 different times, but once you can design in one view with auto layouts and the way I'll teach you how to structure your designs is going to be using those same, that's just make a copy of, the way it works is I'll just take a copy of that same desktop. And by the time you shrink that desktop down, right, the mobile version, it will be adjusting automatically. But you need to change some settings, obviously. But the mobile version will now be adjusting automatically because we are changing the size. You understand? And then that will happen. Like, that's kind of like how I will teach you guys, not with the method of having to design it multiple times, over and over. It makes things faster. And then you can save time and even work on multiple projects at the same time. But definitely, if they want to see tablets, mobile, and everything, you design it 3 times, yes. But there are techniques to make that faster. That's what I'm saying. There's something called the software development lifecycle. And I said it that creating any software is like a team sport. There are people who actually do the design. There are people that will code that design. Anything you do in Figma, somebody will come and look at it and will use code to replicate it. People who code are not good at design. People who design are not good at code because code is too boring for some of us. Obviously, there are people who are good at both, but you will never be the master of the 2 of them. That's just, you will always be stronger at one thing than the other. It's either you're a crappy designer and a better developer, or a better designer and a crappy developer. That's just how it works. You cannot have it all. It's a team sport. A designer, and I remember explaining that for Figma designs, first things you have to do is relate it to something like being like, I want to build a house, an architect. somebody will design the house first. They'll give you a blueprint, they'll give you the AutoCAD drawing, what the house will look like at the end. You'll see it, you will like it first. Once you like it, then they'll call bricklayers and contractors, electricians, plumbers. Oh, yeah, let us start working. Those guys that are doing the bricklaying, that they are sweating money afternoon night, those are the developers. You understand? But the guys that do the architecture of it is the designer. We are the designers. We are the ones that do the architecture. This is basically software architecture. You understand what I'm saying? That will be the end of the class for today. All right, everyone. Have a wonderful day. Bye.